Whenever you pray for something and nothing changes. Welcome into our channel. My heart was heavy on this matter, so we are going to address this because I know and I believe that so many people need to hear this message. When you pray, but nothing changes. Have you ever felt like that? Have you ever experienced that? When you pray and nothing changes. When you prayed and you had the faith and you believe God. I mean, you really believe God. And you prayed fervently. You fasted and you prayed and nothing changed. What do we do when we pray? And we pray and we pray and nothing seems to change. It seems as if things get worse and worse and worse when we pray. Let me tell you something. We have to be just like Job. Lord, yea, you slay me, yet I'm going to trust you. Whenever you're praying for something and you really, really believe in what you're praying for, when you really, really, really have the faith of God, when you really have the faith in God and nothing changes, He doesn't answer that prayer and He doesn't answer that request. I don't want you to be offended at God. We have to learn how to endure what God allows. And we have to learn how to accept what God is allowing in our lives. Why? Because God knows He has a bigger purpose. God knows you're in from the beginning. And God knows what He has in plan in mind for you. It is so easy to get offended at God when He doesn't come when we want Him to come. It is so easy to get offended at God and begin to resent God when we pray like He tells us to pray, and when we have the faith that He tells us that we must have in order to please Him. And on top of all of that, that loved one God allowed to die and to go home. You prayed so fervently for your marriage to be restored, for your spouse to come back home. You prayed, you fasted, you laid your plate down, and they didn't come back home. What do? You got to trust God. You still have to believe, because God is asking you, would you still love me if I didn't give you what you wanted? God is asking us, would you still serve me? Would you still obey me? Would you still do what I ask you to do? Would you still have the heart to do what I ask you to do? When I don't come when you want me to come. When I don't answer your call when you want me to answer it. When I don't do what you think I should do for you. When you think I should do it for you. And how I should do it for you. Will you trust me? Our trust cannot be based upon if God answers our prayer or not. Our faith in God has to be based on who He is and what He has done and what He will do. The trust and the faith that we have in God, we have to always maintain that faith on the character of God, on the very nature of God. The enemy wants us to be offended at God because he knows that seed of bitterness, that seed of resentment that gets in our heart is going to block your prayer life. You're not going to get a prayer through. Not only will we not get a prayer through, God is not going to even hear the prayer. He's not going to even answer that prayer. We can't be like Abraham and Sarah. You get in trouble when you pray for something and you're waiting on that thing to manifest and it doesn't come whenever you think it should come. The enemy loves it when we go outside of God and help God out. Look what happened to Sarah when God promised her and her son Abraham a promised child. They were in their old age. Look how their life stopped flowing. Look at how the issues of life didn't flow for her. Look at Abraham at that old age. It looked impossible, didn't it? But God is a God of the impossible. We don't need to put our hands in anything to manipulate it to get the blessing that God has for you. You don't have to manipulate God to bless you. You don't have to manipulate God to answer your prayer. No. He said the effectual fervent prayer of the righteous will avail us much. But what do? When you prayed all you know how to pray, you've done everything that God told you to do, but you didn't get the result that you wanted. What do you do when you pray and nothing changes? We got to be like Job. Lord, yea, you slay me, yet will I trust him. Say it. Hashtag it. Though you slay me, God, I still will trust you. I will not bend and I will not bow to the world. I will not bend. I will not bow to no idol, to an image, to an ideology. I will not bend and I will not bow and I will not conform to what the enemy wants me to conform to, because you are still God.